And I want to introduce our first guest. I've known him for a long time. He was with us in the late 80s and then again about 10 years ago. But back in 2020, Brother Copeland called him and said that the Victory Channel needed to have a voice in regards to the election. So we needed to respond to everything that was going on in our nation, and we needed to respond in the spirit of faith and with the voice of victory. And so that's a very important part of this ministry that was born.
Well, it's one of those every available voice.
Every available voice. So I want to introduce to you tonight somebody that you know very well. It's the revival man himself, the host of FlashPoint. Would you welcome Gene Bailey?
Welcome.
Thank you. Gene, oh, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. Wow. You asked for a meeting with Pastor Terry and myself one day. You wanted to talk to us about something. And you came in, and what's that?
Oh, nothing. I was just adding some voiceovers here.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
And so I thought, I wonder what he wants to talk about. And you came in and you said, Pastor, I have an idea for a program.
Right.
Tell us what your idea was.
Well, anybody that knows Pastor George knows the affinity for Walt Disney, early days.
Early days.
And,
yes. Please,
and, you know,
make sure you say that.
If you want to get Pastor George off topic, you show him an old book of Disney or Walt.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about that for a while, which was great. But I'm like, you know, he was a visionary. Yes, everybody would agree with that.
Sure.
But what he did is I remember as a kid watching, and for some reason it was okay to watch him with the vertical map of the property of, Disney World or Disney.
And with a pointer. He had
a pointer. And I was like, that was so cool. And I thought, oh, wait a minute. This is Pastor George all over. People need to know. They see you at church, obviously, and on the Believer's Voice of Victory from time to time, but they don't know you. And they need to know you, have a relationship with you. But after that, they need to understand what's so unusual about this place. Not just the facilities, but it's the people, it's the calling, it's even the history of the property is highly unusual. It's not something you've ever been to before. So I think with all of that, I wanted people to have a relationship with you and let you share through your lens the revival capital of the world. We know what Brother Copeland says, and we love that, but I wanted to hear, what do you see? What do you think? How's this all going to come together?
And that's what happened. That's what took place, and we were able to sit down, talk, meet for quite a while, just fleshing through what this thing was going to be. And it's turned out to be this. It's the weekly program. Gene, thank you for that idea. That was, I think we should give Gene a great hand.
Please, you did all the work.
We should give him residuals as well from this.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Gene, let's talk about Chicago, the Rescue America tours that you've done. But you just came back from Chicago recently. You were there for the Democrat National Convention. And just tell us a little bit about that and what took place there. And then you went on right there in Chicago to a meeting. So just tell us a little bit about that. Well, we got some B-roll we want to show.
Yeah, we started the week there in downtown Chicago. The DNC was starting. And, you know, it's we're not exactly highly embraced by the Democrat Party. Not because of what we say, but, well, it is maybe some of what we say. Anyway, so we were there, and I was very interested to see, because I wanted to see, of course, we have memories of 1968.
Right.
You'll have to Google it.
I will.
And of seeing what happened there and all of that. But I was curious to see what really would happen. And so from where we were at in the hotel where we were broadcasting from, we could look down on the first protest. And I'm like, oh, look, it's a protest. Get a camera out. Let's shoot it. And it was about 100 people and about 200 police.
Wow.
And so that night we see it on the news, and I was like, wait a minute, this looks like there's thousands there. Most of these people are police. So it was another eye-opening experience of what we were seeing. They may, you know, you can talk about joy, you can push joy, you can say you have a lot of joy, but people know when it's a lie, and people know when it's not effective. And what we've heard from so many people, man on the street interviews where, I don't know, this is just some things we're just not sure this is what needs to happen. So people are desperate for truth. And Chicago was like that. So the end of the week, we went down to Tinley Park with Pastor James and Sharon Ward for FlashPoint. They had asked us to come hold a FlashPoint Live at the church, and so we did that. So it was very interesting comparing what we were feeling in Chicago with what we were presenting in Tinley Park.
Yeah.
So you're feeling and you're sensing darkness and a lot of stuff. And it's a beautiful city. Chicago's a beautiful city, and it's such a shame. So anyway, so we're down there in Tinley Park talking about what God's doing. What does God say about your life? What does his word say about who you are?
Yeah.
And what do we stand for in this nation? So many people are misquoting the Constitution. They're saying things that aren't true. So it's our job to say, no, look, this is in the Constitution, but this is in the Bible too. And this is why your faith really does matter. This is why you should be involved, because it's up to all of us.
Absolutely.
We all have a part to play.
We do.
And it's a big world.
Now, New Orleans is coming up.
Yes,
at
it will
Jesse
be.
Duplantis' church. I'm looking forward to that because I'll be coming.
Yes, you'll be coming.
To that meeting, excited about being there. And then Omaha. Talk about Omaha for just a moment.
Well, first off, let's talk about New Orleans, because you're coming, but that's going to be different than any FlashPoint. If you had to pick one to come to, I'm telling you, New Orleans is going to be different because it's New Orleans style.
Oh, yes.
So we're not doing anything. It's not your normal. Your normal? Your normal.
Even the words aren't normal.
See? It's not your normal FlashPoint. We're going to have the music. We're going to have the parasols.
That's it.
It's all the New Orleans style.
And you're going to have Jesse Duplantis. So.
Jesse Duplantis, George Pearsons, Kenneth Copeland. It's going to be crazy. No, we're going to have a great time.
It's going to be good.
And so that's going to be a good one. But back to Omaha, September 12th. That is, we kick off the first night of Hank and Brenda Kuhneman's conference. They do every year. And so it's an interesting part of the country. As we've been blessed to travel with the tour, we get to see different pockets of America and what people are really dealing with. And when in doing that, we're in a lot of the central part of the United States. We see we got the heartland. You got corn. You got farmers. We got the people that do the job. And that's what's awesome is that we're able to come alongside them. And we're there to encourage, edify, build up, and get people ready to go vote. Go vote the right way and understand what God's called them to do.
So I understand your position. I have somebody talking in my ear right now and saying we need to go to the next segment.
I do. I do understand that very well.
Gene Bailey, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For helping us celebrate our one-year anniversary.
Happy birthday.
Give him a great hand. Gene, thank you. There's a lot of corruption that is taking place, and it is the responsibility of the ministers and the pastors to deal with it from that pulpit, and that there be integrity in this election.
What is the gospel? Not what do I think the gospel is, but what did Jesus say the gospel is? What's the Great Commission? Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey all the things that I taught you.
Your job is to get behind unleashing the church in every mountain. I will build my church not all the way over here waiting for the rapture, but go ye into the system. Go make disciples of nations.
Our worldview will dictate our policies and the politics that we become involved in. And it should be viewed as a mission field. And our actions today and in the political arena must be in pursuit of that mission field. It must be an outpouring of the gospel that we hold so true.
Sadly, today in this Christian era, we lack the faith that is necessary to make us the overcomers that God has declared us to be. Church, we must get our faith back. We must believe as never before. And I truly believe that if we move towards action, God will move towards deliverance.
Okay, I want to pose a question, or maybe we should pull this to see who's right and who's wrong. But just listen. When you're merging in traffic, do you join the long line of cars early, or are you one of those that drive all the way to the merge point before getting in the lane? Well, according to our director, the answer is the zipper merge. So I don't know if it's right or not, but for the moment, let's go with it. So why is the zipper merge the right choice? Because no space is wasted. We all get where we're going faster and more efficiently. Now, just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that we should follow along. And this is backed by Scripture. Isaiah 8:11 says, God spoke strongly to me, grabbed me with both hands, and warned me not to go along with this. Or in this case, drivers who don't merge properly. So let's not follow the crowd and get in line with everyone else, especially when it comes to your vision. We have to listen to His direction, step into the lane where no one else is, and start moving forward.
What if your relationship with God became so profound that his voice became unmistakably clear? In this heartwarming book, Terry Copeland Pearsons shares how she first encountered Jesus as a little girl. In an encounter with him, she blends practical teaching with her personal journey of encountering Jesus in prayer. You'll be drawn into a deeper fellowship with Jesus. An encounter with him is available exclusively at kcm.org/encounterhim.